Hey, it's Mike Wickett. Time for a quick 5-minute midweek mini podcast after both Iowa and Drake get eliminated. Iowa just got beat by Oregon about 5 minutes ago as I'm recording this. Drake, of course, lost over the weekend in their first round matchup with USC. We'll start with Drake real quick because that happened, and then we'll move to the game that involves the Iowa Hawkeyes against Oregon. Look, USC's really good. USC has a lottery pick on their roster. USC is bigger. USC has length. I remember on Friday, if you missed the interview, Drake head coach Darren DeVries joined us and said USC has tons of length. And when you're a team like Drake, who's a little undersized, and that's expected out of the MVC, generally, mid-major conferences don't have the size of some of the big Power 5 conferences. So you're going to be undersized when you go up against a team like USC, and they hung with them in that first half. There is no doubt, but you could just see that outside of Joe Yesufu, they didn't have a lot offensively, and you could really see that Drake was running out of gas. And that happens. I mean, they had planned to play on Wednesday. They had to play on Thursday, then they had to play again on Saturday, and USC had time off since the Pac-12 tournament. So, I mean, I'm not sitting here and telling you there's a moral victory for Drake, and everybody should feel great about Drake, and yay, Drake, hooray, Drake. It's tough to lose. But Drake had themselves a heck of a run. They got to the conference final. They tried to endure so many injuries, and their coach was coach of the year. Everybody's coming back. DeVries said that, I think, earlier this week, that everybody was coming back, and that is amazing because if you can start Joe Yesufu, who I think has earned himself some serious starting minutes, with all due respect to Roman Penn, and I don't know the status of Roman Penn by the time we get to next season into the late fall, early winter, but if my backcourt has Hemphill and Yesufu, look out to the rest of the Missouri Valley Conference. That's a tremendous backcourt, and the big kid in the middle, the freshman's going to get better. I mean, the future is very bright for Drake, and not just the long-term future, the immediate future. Next season looks really, really good for Drake. So, good run, historical season, and, it's too bad it had to come to an end the way that it did. And who knows what happens if Hemphill is healthy and Penn is healthy and they have their full complement of players. I don't know how deep they get in the tournament, but they gave it a heck of a run. As for Iowa, I told you on my show, and I said on the podcast, that this was a terrible round 2 matchup. They were going to get past Grand Canyon. That's what you expected. But should they get Oregon, and they got Oregon in a very roundabout, weird kind of way, right? They got Oregon in the, strangest of ways, I guess, because of COVID and where we're at right now. Oregon got past VCU, and there was the idea rest versus rust versus rest. They hadn't played in 10 days. Well, I'll tell you what, Oregon was rested, and I thought this was a nightmare matchup for Iowa. As I have said all year long, Iowa struggles, and as you've seen, because you watch Iowa, when they play against teams that have a bunch of athletic wings that can get out and run, that's Iowa's kryptonite. And that is all Oregon is length and athleticism, and apparently really good three-point shooting. There were a number of factors that went into today's loss for Iowa. A blowout loss, a depressing way for the year to end if you're an Iowa fan, and for Luka Garza's career to end. I mean, the dude poured in 33 and had 9, and he was fantastic. But Oregon was a nightmare matchup. They get out on the perimeter. They didn't give Iowa too many open looks. And Iowa hit 8 threes. They were 8 at 25 or 8 at 26 from the three-point line. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. Missed buckets go the other way, and Iowa doesn't have the speed or the athleticism to get back and contest those. How many runouts did Oregon have? How many times did they go through the lane and literally dunk on Iowa today? It was the worst possible matchup, I think, for Iowa. And props to head coach Dana Altman for saying, hey, we're going to let Garza, or we know Garza's going to get his. We're not going to focus on shutting down Luka Garza, the National Player of the Year, the 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year. But we're sure as heck not going to let anybody else beat us. And they didn't let anybody else beat them. Wieskamp was off. Frederick didn't do much. Nobody did a lot for this team outside of Garza, and that was great coaching. That was really, really good coaching, and it's too bad Fran didn't have any answer for it because Iowa just seemed to be playing a different level of basketball against Oregon. A of JV versus varsity in the second half. I mean, they were right there in the first half. This was a great basketball game in the first half. But once Oregon started running away from Iowa, you knew by about the 10, 12-minute mark, this game was over. And it sucks because you got to see, Luka one more time have a great game if you're an Iowa fan. Watching Luka Garza walk off the floor, I'm not a lifelong Iowa fan. You might be a lifelong Iowa fan, whatever. But watching Luka Garza walk off the floor, that was emotional. The guy came back. He wanted to make a special run. Iowa had a historic year. He was a historic player, broke the school scoring record, Big Ten Player of the Year, all these national accolades coming Luka Garza's his way. And to lose the first weekend had to be heartbreaking for Garza. My question to Fran McCaffrey is this. Where was that new and improved defense? You gave up 93 points today. Oregon had open look after open look. Oregon's fast break points were off the charts compared to Iowa's. The Ducks shot 56% from the floor. Where was that new and improved defense I kept hearing so much about coming down the stretch in the Big Ten season? Just a bad matchup. It really, when I was asked, what don't you want to see for Iowa in the NCAA tournament? Length, athleticism. And that's what Oregon is. They got about 6 guys who are 6'6", and they can all play. That could be a dangerous 7 seed. I mean, Oregon was supposed to win the Pac-12 tournament. They didn't. Oregon State and Oregon now both into the Sweet 16 as another Big Ten team goes down. It's the Iowa Hawkeyes. Good year, good careers. The team's going to look very, very different come next year. They finished 22-9. But again, this was not the best matchup for Iowa, and that's how the season comes to an end. Thanks for checking out this mini episode, this mini podcast of Wickett's World. My name is Mike Wickett. Full show coming Friday, podcast only. It'll be on Facebook Live. It'll be all over the internet because we got Cubs baseball on 1350 ESPN. The Cubs are back. Baseball is back. First pitch is at 3:05 this Friday, which means I get bumped to right here. We'll be doing it on Facebook Live, so make sure you are checking it out. We'll have plenty of college basketball to recap, to preview for the weekend. Unfortunately, no local teams to talk about, but we'll have some more thoughts on the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Drake Bulldogs. So don't forget to like ESPN Des Moines on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at ESPN DSM, and I think that's it. Yeah. I can't think of anything else to promote at this time. So until next time, my name is Mike Wickett. This has been Wickett's World here on 1350 ESPN and ESPNDesMoines.com.